You're gonna call me crazy, but I think we can get to the semifinals. I think we can
Wow.
get to semifinals. That would be a extremely successful tournament. I think realistically we can get out of this group stage. And up top, Gonzalo Plata. He's one of our wingers.
Mm,
He plays at Real Valladolid in Spain in
yeah.
La Liga. He's one of those upcoming world class wingers we'll see for a long time.
Mm. Having never qualified for the World Cup until 2002, Ecuador have now qualified for its fourth World Cup in the last 20 years. And in this occasion, they qualified in style, finishing fourth ahead of the likes of Colombia, Peru, and Chile. Whilst there still remains some uncertainty about the legality of Byron Castillo, the Ecuador team displayed some exciting football with some players to take note of. To help me discuss this and more, I'm joined by Martin from Ecuador Heroes. So, Martin, thank you for agreeing to do this show as well, in particular on Ecuador. But more importantly, how are you doing?
Thank you, Adam. No, I'm glad to be here. Happy to help you out. Yeah, I'm representing Ecuador today. Talk about our World Cup chances, and I'm feeling good.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Well, we need to kind of start with Ecuador because they're going to be kicking off this World Cup in a few days' time. It feels like it's just crept up on us. So let's go into the story of Ecuador. Let's start off by how did this team make its way to Qatar?
Well, it was a long road. You know how the World Cup qualifiers are in South America, one of the toughest in the world. So,
Mm,
of course, we saw the likes of Brazil, Argentina topping the group, making it with these. But for the others, it was a long battle until the very end. And yeah, we were fighting against Paraguay, Peru, Chile, Colombia, who all didn't make it. It was us and Uruguay.
mm.
So yeah, it was great because last World Cup 4 years ago we didn't participate, we didn't make it. So it's been 8 years since we've been to the world stage, and yeah, the countries they're looking forward to it.
Definitely. And looking at the kind of list of the teams that you came across, obviously, you had some fantastic games along this journey to get to Qatar. So you held the likes of Argentina and Brazil to draws. But more importantly, you managed to get some big results against the likes of Chile. You got 4 points out of the two legs between them. But if I remember rightly, you also had some fantastic wins against Colombia as well. So talking about the style of football that we're expecting from Ecuador, how would you describe the style with Ecuador?
Yeah, the style. So typically we're known for our pace, our quick counterattacks, using our pace on the wings and attacking, exploding from that area. Gustavo Alfaro, the Argentine manager Ecuador has, he's done a great job tactically with this group of players, and we're playing a sort of possession style game when we have possession of the ball, when we have the ball, and taking our time, going not so much we get the ball counterattack. It's more of like, okay, let's dominate the game ourselves. So that's kind of like clicked in. We have a lot of new players coming in, new as in young.
Mm,
We have some starters that are 20, 21, 22 years old, and mixed with the veteran status like Ener Valencia, Angel Mena, our goalkeepers. So it's a very good group managed by a very good manager. So yeah.
mm. And a word on your manager, so Alfaro. Obviously, I've noticed from his past, he's managed some big teams in Argentina. So, what have you made of him as a coach? Because obviously, it seems like he's had an instant impact.
Yeah, I would say he's more of a man manager, man
Mm,
management. He is a great head of a group of these type of players. Before he came in, we didn't have a national team like a set group. There's a
mm,
lot of people going out in retirement, a lot of people who were, like I said, young, weren't getting into the squad. So it was all a mess, really. And when Gustavo came, he really took his time. The whole World Cup qualifiers, he brought in numerous players, over 100, tested them out, how they worked within the squad, in the locker room, on the pitch too, but also as a person. So I think that helped with Gustavo. We know he was at Boca Juniors a long time ago.
mm.
And yeah, he did well there. He's known, but this is also his first national team. And for him to qualify to a World Cup, it's huge. It's huge on both
No,
ends.
definitely. And looking at your squad, obviously, as you mentioned, you've got a number of kind of experienced pros. So I'm thinking of the likes of Enner Valencia, for example, who a lot of West Ham fans will know from his time down there. But when I was looking at your kind of players that you've got in your squad, it's a good mixture at the moment. And some of the players that some viewers might know, so the likes of Moses Caicedo, who's at Brighton, but there's a number of Brighton's players there. So we've got Ostapan and also Sarmiento. But some other players to maybe look out for, and personally, from when I was doing the research, was the likes of Michael Estrada, as well as Piero Hincapié. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but yeah, obviously he's making a bit of a name for himself at Leverkusen. But is there any other kind of players that you can think of that we should maybe keep an eye out of?
Yeah, so like you said, Piero Hincapié, he's a incoming young center back, bossing it at Bayern Leverkusen. But we also don't talk about his partner in the national team. We have a guy who's 24, 25 years old, if I'm not mistaken, Felix Torres. He plays over in Mexico, Club Santos Laguna, but he's been getting rumored this year to go to Porto, Benfica. So I think once we see him at the World Cup, we see how these two play, we can see Felix in Europe soon. And yeah, in the midfield, you mentioned Moises Caicedo. Yeah, Carlos Grueso, he plays over there at Augsburg in Germany in the Bundesliga. He's one of 3 players of the national team that look to go to this World Cup who were at the last World Cup in 2014. So he's still like 28 years old. He's very young still, but he bosses it in the midfield with Moises Caicedo. So that's a good mix. And up top, Gonzalo Plata. He's one of our wingers. He plays at Real Valladolid in Spain in La Liga. He's one of those upcoming world-class wingers we'll see for a long time.
He seemed very silky on the ball, like very direct, and he's just very attacking. I'm glad you mentioned his name because I've got it in my notes. But yeah, certainly a player that we definitely would look forward to seeing at this World Cup. So thinking about this squad more importantly, how do you think they're going to approach it, especially with the first game being against Qatar, right?
Yeah, that's tough. There's a statistic that says no team that opened the World Cup, the host country, has never lost their first game. So the first game. So first of all, that's just a statistic, but it's in Qatar. It's very tough. It's historical, but if Ecuador comes out, it's a strong group. Group A is strong with Netherlands and Senegal. Okay, African champions and Netherlands, a big European team.
Yeah.
So we need to come out to get the 3 points. We need to come out to win. So that's where the nervous part of me gets to it. Like, if we don't win, this group will come out to the last game.
So would you say that success for this tournament would be potentially, finishing second, do you think?
Yeah. I'll take first, second in the group for sure. My problem is if we don't win against Qatar, that's where I'll see like, okay, maybe Senegal is going to come out. The second game's against Senegal. They're going to come out trying to beat us, and then Netherlands too. So I feel like Senegal and Netherlands look to be the 2 that are going past the group. I'd say Ecuador is favored to get 3rd place. So yeah, there's a fight. We should come out to win because against the 3 teams, Qatar is the easier team, footballing wise. It does also influence that they're the home country, and yeah, it's tough. But I'm confident in this group, these players, and we can definitely come out and win the opening match.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I wanted to quickly ask you about how you feel this squad is in comparison to your previous teams that have made it to the World Cup. So obviously your previous high was back in 2006 in Germany, where you reached the last 16. Where do you kind of balance this team against those kind of squads? Because obviously you had some really good, talented players even back then as well. But now you've got a kind of different mix. So how do you rate this team against those?
Yeah, that 2006 squad is the best Ecuador team ever. They're, like you said, they got the farthest they've ever had in World Cup in the round of 16, lost to England, a David Beckham free kick. But yeah, the talent-wise, that team was spectacular. This time around, I think we have the same amount of talent. What's changed is, okay, we're 16 years later. We've seen that we have talent on the big stage. We have a national team. We have players capable of playing in the biggest teams in Europe. But why isn't our national team getting to the place they deserve? So I think now we're seeing a generation of young Ecuadorians who are playing in Europe and are being more professional. They're we're not seeing as much as people going out for parties, getting in trouble for alcohol or any other extracurricular activities. But this team seems to be more professional, and I love it. There's players 19, 20 years old who are acting like they're captains of the team. So it's great. It's great, Adam.
No, it definitely sounds like it's exciting times for you guys. But yeah, let's give it a bit more context. So Byron Castillo is definitely a big story across the globe at the moment, especially because Chile seemed dominant. They really want to gun you guys out of this tournament before it's even started. Just to provide our kind of viewers a bit more context, can you just tell in your own words about why this has become a big story?
Okay, for the people that don't know, Byron Castillo is a right back at the Ecuador national team. He's played all his life academy football here in Ecuador with multiple club teams bouncing around Quito and in Guayaquil. He was last playing at Barcelona, the Guayaquil. He's now in Mexico. Anyways, there was some Chilean people, lawyers and press coming out that he was Colombian. And so they made up that there was another person with the same name. It was a big deal. At the end of the day, he has citizenship, passport, everything. All of his documents are from Ecuador. So the nation Ecuador as the team and everything, they were never worried. But Chile, also Peru, when they didn't qualify.
Yeah.
Those two countries, and even Colombia a little bit, they were kind of like, okay, let's see, this could be a reason Ecuador can miss out and one of us can go in. So it was more of a press thing. I think the whole time Ecuador and the Federation knew we were going to the World Cup at the end of the day.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, how is the feelings in Ecuador about this case? Because obviously, yeah, it's been kind of translated across here that, you know, there could be a fear that Ecuador wouldn't make it because of this outgoing case. And there's been flagged about a previous case with a Venezuelan player who, as a result, because it transpired that he actually wasn't a Venezuelan, that those results against the likes of Chile made sure that they won that game. And ultimately, despite that, they didn't make it, despite their protestations. So it seems like it's history repeating itself. But yeah, I mean, from your point of view, it seems that like it's very calm at the moment. Is that the right kind of phrase for what's happening?
Calm on one side, like, okay, yeah, let's not listen to that. We're going to the World Cup. Let's focus on our football team. Yes, but on another side, it's kind of like frustrating. It's annoying. We should be celebrating. We're going to our 4th ever World Cup, and there's so much press worldwide, like you said, even in England. And I've seen things too from England, Spain, people talking about this case, and it's a little frustrating. And I think, I don't know, I think everything happens for a reason. So this might be one of the reasons our team gets more unified as it already is. And hopefully we do well in the World Cup because of it.
Well, fingers crossed. You definitely have filled me with a bit more confidence about Ecuador. So let's get your thoughts then. So in terms of what would be successful for yourself this year at this tournament, where do you think Ecuador could aspire to?
You're going to call me crazy, but I think we can get to the semifinals. I think we get to semifinals. That would be a extremely successful tournament. I think realistically we can get out of this group stage. We can fight against in the round 16 against, it could be England or it could be another team from Group B. I think we have a fight, and because we've never made it past round of 16, we're gonna go more hungry than ever, and I think we can make it to the top 8. And after that, it's just a dream come true.
Definitely would be. I think the bit that makes me feel confident about Ecuador is I've seen Senegal in the African nations, and they had moments where they weren't particularly like straightforward in terms of the approach. They did struggle against certain sides. So for me, I just feel like Ecuador have a slight edge. And as we've spoken, you've got some fantastic players, some really good aspiring players at the moment that look like they're going to dominate a number of teams across Europe as well. So I'm going to quickly do a quick fire questions about the tournament itself. So now that you've said Ecuador are going to make the semi-finals, hopefully, fingers crossed, who do you think is going to be the winners of the World Cup this year?
The winners, I'll go with my fellow South Americans, Brazil. I think Brazil's squad, they're so deep. Neymar, he'll be 30 years old going to this World Cup, and we have the likes of Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo. Yeah. I think Brazil are favorites to win it.
Yeah, no, definitely one that I'm tipping myself as well. Would you be saying that Neymar potentially could be top goal scorer then in that case?
Yeah, top goal scorer or top assister, whichever two or both.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. What's your tip for dark horse then?
Well, Ecuador would be the dark horse where if I'm reckoning we get that far. But another team, I would say, that's a good question. I don't know. Maybe Uruguay. Uruguay is also in a strong group, a very group of death-like team group. If they make it out of their group stage and are clicking within themselves, because they have great talent mixed with like Ecuador, generational young talent with veteran status. So I could see Uruguay making it far.
Good tip there. And overall, who do you think is going to be the star player of the tournament?
Star player, I want to say Messi, just because it's probably his last World Cup. His last World Cup where he's playing competitively still in Europe. He's 35 years old. The team around him plays for him. And yeah, I could see Messi going far with Argentina and coming out the best player.
Amazing. Well, thank you for that. And viewers, hopefully you've enjoyed that coverage of Ecuador. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and see if we've managed to do the achievement of covering every 32 team at this World Cup. Give us our thoughts down below as well and let us know what you think about this content. But before I let you go, Martin, please plug your content as well, more importantly. So make sure people follow you as well. So where can people find you?
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate your time. It's great to be here. You guys can follow me at Ecuador Heroes on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everything. Thanks for having me.
No, fantastic. Thank you. Make sure you check out his content. He does some fantastic drills. So more importantly, though, thank you very much. And hopefully, fingers crossed, Martin, we'll be talking soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Adam. Take care.